We're bringing you action here live at the 2013 Stanford Invite. I'm Brian Jones here with Tyler Kinley. Carleton College facing off against the University of Pittsburgh. This is a rematch of the semifinal game last year at College Nationals before Pittsburgh went on to win it. Both of these teams are very good, Tyler. What can we expect?
Well, so far this season in this tournament, Pitt hasn't looked the same as they did last year. It hasn't been the same dominant performance. There's been some execution errors. Their stack drifts a little bit deep. There's been some questions on defense. Carleton has some questions as well, but they've looked like a good system. Both teams are going to try to bring in a ton of energy to start this game.
Lim starts out, centers to Harold, and a vertical stack with three handlers and a flood, getting Montague open. Similar zipper play, and Montague's looking deep for Stewart. Stewart running it down for the goal, and that's a fast start for Carleton.
Carleton's really going to like that start. Opening up Nick Stewart deep, especially from Montague, that's a connection that Pitt is really going to have to respond to stop. Otherwise, they'll just keep going to the well. That's probably going to open up Nick Stewart underneath for most of the rest of the game. I mean, just having that option is dangerous. Pitt's going to have to respond, have to either back him or do something different.
That's a good start for Nick Stewart. We saw him yesterday play against the University of Oregon, a game in which Carleton won 15-14. Stewart had some drops at that point, so it's good to see him on track early if you're Carleton. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, did have some trouble in the last game with Stanford, went down a break at one point in time, and we expect a little bit more out of Pittsburgh, and their defense has not yet ramped up. We'll see how the offense carries against a Carleton team that seems ready to go.
Yeah, in that Stanford game, there were a couple things going on. One, Stanford was hot. They were playing hard. They were playing incredibly energetic, full team defense. They were a little bit more just gritty. They wanted it. Pitt looked frustrated. There were times when their offense, their spacing, their stack was a host stack, and it got really deep. Their handlers had to do a lot of work. It wasn't that perfect flow chemistry we saw from Pitt last year. If they get back into that, then I could expect it to be a very exciting game.
Pull goes up, and with the offensive line on the field, the two Thorne brothers, Alex and Max Thorne. Thing starts out with Michael Brenner, center to Saul. And a similar play now to a side stack. Max Thorne underneath. Looking for DiGirolamo in the lane, not available. Now Saul on the dump. Thorne not with any options. Defense is already pretty good for Carleton. Brenner comes back on the inside backhand. Thorne on the sideline. Around to DiGirolamo. Call on the play. As we restart, DiGirolamo marked by Jesse Bolton, freshman from Seattle. DiGirolamo.
We already see the stack incredibly deep away from the thrower.
Thorne engaging underneath. Now two deep shots available. Thorne holsters underneath to DiGirolamo. DiGirolamo going deep. There's a man there for Carleton. And the easy D. Good help defense by Carleton.
What you saw there was Alex Thorne going deep from the handler position on the weak side of the stack. Tyler DiGirolamo reading it well, but not seeing the poach help D from the back of the stack.
Bolton looking deep for Childs Walker. Thorne giving chase, this one hanging. And Childs Walker puts it in for the break. Carleton goes up 2-0.
That's an excellent throw from Jesse Bolton. That was perfect. Alex Thorne was in a decent position to make a play if there was any float on the disc, but it wasn't. Just great shot.
Right now there's no wind on the field, and so those discs are going to hang nicely. Pittsburgh already hanging their heads. Quick word from our sponsors. We're powered by Elemental Technologies. They're the source that makes everything run in next gen, all the streaming capability we're able to provide you here at the Stanford Invite 2013. And I'm Brian Jones here with Tyler Kinley. So far this weekend has not been disappointing whatsoever. We saw an incredible game yesterday with Oregon versus Carleton. We see a lot of parity, and looking at the other side of the bracket as well, Carleton, Pittsburgh facing off, and on the other field we have Oregon versus Tufts. And Tufts is a team we didn't expect to be here. Oregon taking down Wisconsin in tremendous fashion, 15-7.
Absolutely, and across the board there's been some surprises. Wisconsin came in with that dominant performance at warm-up and got beat by Whitman. Whitman got beat by Colorado, and Colorado's getting beat by good teams. There's no formula for, if one team's winning, they're probably going to win everything. Everyone's had some up and down performances.
A lot of parity. Offensive line out here for Pittsburgh, and Childs Walker puts it down the field. We have an offside call on the play. Take you through the Pittsburgh offensive line from left to right. We have Max Thorne, Michael Brenner, Isaac Saul, Pat Earls, Tyler DiGirolamo, Christian Pitts. Carleton getting set to pull. Will Harold out there with Nick Stewart and Justin Norden.
Yeah, Jules! Get down, get down,
Childs Walker with a nice pull down the middle field again. Very little wind. Brenner picks it up. Looking for DiGirolamo underneath. A lot of clogging underneath in the deep lane by Pittsburgh. Earls. Running Max Thorne underneath. Thorne putting it up for DiGirolamo. Great layout by DiGirolamo, puts Pittsburgh on the board.
That's the kind of throw that we're used to seeing from Pitt, where it's a precise throw. That one was a little far, but I would say DiGirolamo probably doesn't consider that too difficult of a catch. He had to get outstretched for it, but it wasn't as much of a layout. I think he's comfortable with that. Pitt finding those gaps, putting it in small places.
That's Pittsburgh's offense. If there's anything right now they have is chemistry and talent. DiGirolamo, Alex Thorne, and Max Thorne, younger brother of Alex. Incredible throwers. DiGirolamo is one of the best athletes in the game right now.
In the previous game, we saw Tyler DiGirolamo. I mean, he's beating his matchup downfield consistently, but it's not always in sync with the thrower. Sometimes the throwers are just not seeing it, looking at the dump, looking at something else, and he showed visible signs of frustration with the throwers. I mean, you love having a guy that wants the disc, but it's tough when he shows frustration. You know, that trickles down to the freshmen. They see it.
There has been a sense of frustration on Pittsburgh. They haven't cruised through. They've had to survive a couple of close losses, close wins, beating UNC 14-13 in pool play, and then surviving Stanford in the last round. Stewart with a disc for Carleton. Lim, another freshman, putting it deep for Montague. Too far, and near bid by Ryan. Almost picks it up.
That was an exciting huck. It was a little lofty. It gave the defender time to make up ground. It wasn't just flat out in front like we saw from Jesse Bolton.
Cut going early, 2 hucks on offense to start the game off. They are definitely being riskier than we've seen in past years. This is a different cut team.
Nick Stewart on the mark.
Marcus Dropcho with the disc.
Hey, try to stay out of the way of the wire.
Dropcho.
You're good, Ty. Go inside, go inside, go inside.
Looking deep for Dylan. Montague trying to give chase. Dylan makes a catch outside the end zone. Dylan looking around, nobody available yet. Tight defense, and there's a call on the play. Some discussion going on here. But the Hucks are coming fine so far, almost in every single possession. We haven't seen anything but. Jesse Bolton had a nice one early on. Max Thorne threw about a 20-yarder score for DiGirolamo in the last possession. Play about to restart. Dylan again with the disc on the end zone. For Dylan, a sophomore. Played southpaw last season in club. Dylan, looking back, finding Kaufman, excuse me. Dropcho. Kaufman looking to punch it in and does so to Dylan for the score. Dylan gets the huck, gets the score reception, and Pittsburgh ties it up at 2.
You know, I'm seeing something interesting from across the board from a lot of teams here at Stanford is a high level of physicality on D, especially around the disc. People are really trying to stop the up lines with their body, and a lot of times they're getting beat by it. They're bumping, but a lot of times their hips are flat. As soon as they lose that physicality, they lose that proximity to the receiver. The receiver just blows by them. There we saw it with an up line that opened up the throws for Pitt. It's interesting just to see that level, that defensive strategy being employed more and more right now.
Pittsburgh has certainly stepped up their game early on here. They're going to have to match it. Carleton's looked like one of the better teams at this tournament, which is to be expected. Every year we go through it, Carleton often does not worry about early season success. They went to warm up and they had a poor performance, losing to Florida State, beating University of Dayton by 1. Come back here to beat Oregon 15-14 to win Pool A. Dropcho with the pull.
It's interesting to watch Pitt succeed in this fashion against a Carleton. Both teams have a very high game IQ, a lot of players with a lot of experience. And it seems like Pitt's used to playing against players like that. They
Stewart on the line, and Childs Walker just can't get there. The Hucks keep on coming, Tyler.
keep coming.
Big transition from Pittsburgh. Watson. Dropcho. Dillon. Dillon was one of the better rookies last year for Pittsburgh, along with Max Thorne. Dropcho breaks the mark, finds Watson. Squeezing it through. Back to Dropcho. Travel called on the play.
Pitt's offense already looks markedly better from their game against Stanford.
Watson.
Go side, go side, go
Dropcho.
side. Oh!
Puts it deep out in front. Dillon is there. Montague. Dillon can't reel it in. No foul on the play. Carleton gets it back.
That seems to be like it's gonna be a great battle between those two.
Dillon coming from
Trent Dillon versus Simon Montague. That's a great matchup to watch.
Nick Stewart underneath. Getting it started for Carleton. Ryan. Montague. Montague so fluid with his fakes. Stewart. Back to Montague. Putting it deep once again. Childs Walker. In the corner of the end zone. Carleton goes up 3-2. This game is showing no signs of stopping down right now. Slowing down.
That's a great shot from Montague. They're really going to need to put a little bit more pressure on him as a thrower. They're going to need to fluster him, make the mark. Just at least, he doesn't even really have to react to the mark right now.
3-2 Carleton leads. Carleton getting to the semifinals after beating Texas A&M 15-7. Texas A&M starting to prove they belong at the higher levels this year. Tufts beating Colorado 15-10. Colorado dispatching North Carolina in pre-quarters yesterday 13-8. North Carolina team that's very athletic. Colorado team that we weren't too impressed with their Pres Day results comes back and has a pretty even performance.
Yeah, that's what we've really been looking for from Colorado, what we've come to expect from their history, and they showed it in that UNC pre-quarters.
Again, this is a rematch here of the semifinal that occurred last year at Nationals. Carleton going up 8-3 before Pittsburgh would come back to win the game and win the national championship following against Wisconsin. Saul gets it in the center of the field. Possession starting for Pittsburgh. Around flick to Max Thorne. Carleton trying to protect the deep, and Thorne puts it deep to DiGirolamo, wide open, 3-3.
What you saw there was two Carleton defenders, Jesse Bolton and John Reynolds. They were trying to split the under and the deep together, and there was just a pure miscommunication. Both got completely open.
Let's see right there. Nobody picks up DiGirolamo, and that's kind of a hard person to miss.
It really is. We're going to take another look. Yeah. Tyler DG just drifted back. Was never picked up. Just a miscommunication on cut. They're going to have to clean those up. They can't really just allow those. in this tight of a game, and especially going forward, that's going to be something they need to clean up a bit.
It's still early, so those mistakes don't become apparent, but looking down the road, you just wasted a defensive possession. Carleton coming back on offense. Talking with Coach Phil Bowen, they've been really running their standard offensive line through this tournament. Carleton choosing to develop their depth. Justin Lim back to receive the pole, centers to Harold. Most vertical stack look for Carleton, finding Lim. Money coming in along the sideline and call on the play.
Justin Lim, a freshman this year from Seattle, already on the O-line for Carleton.
Montague. Play restarts. Looking deep. He's got Ryan. Ryan catches it in the end zone for the score. The Hucks are still coming. Montague putting it out again from that sideline.
Pitt is really forcing the away, but it's proving that with the disc in Montague's hands specifically, they need to have a flat mark. If you're going to force away, you have to get it out of his hands. Allowing him to just survey the field and put these Hucks up. The mark you see, Trent Dillon's mark is 1.5 yards off. There's literally, he's stopping the break, maybe stopping the around, but that's not what Montague has been throwing right now. He's been killing you with those perfect deep shots. Get that flat mark on, get that mark nice and close. Not illegal, but really making him have to step out and throw a tougher throw if you're going to front downfield.
At this point, it's about picking your poison when you're facing Simon Montague. Yesterday, he just had a brilliant game. Throws from all different angles.
Yeah, his ability to get out of tough spots with his release points and his throwing allows him to hold the disc until stall 9 at least. And that just gives him a full 9 seconds to get pretty much any look he wants, dicing up downfield defenses.
Pittsburgh starts possession in the end zone, centers to Saul. Horizontal stack with a little bit of switching. We've seen a lot of unique starting positions by both teams so far. A lot of looks, vertical stack, side stack, host stack where DiGirolamo and looks like Earls are switching off the start of this possession, just trying to confuse the defense. Saul, forced backhand. High release to Max over the shoulder. Next Thorne. Looking deep, and Norden can't get there. Can DiGirolamo? Huge bid, but just out of his reach. Norden picking up the disc for Carleton. Side stack for Carleton. Montague initiating. Pittsburgh trying to poach, finding Bolton underneath. Bolton driving it down to Childs Walker, and Thorne is nearly there. Launching it for Montague, wide open, reels it in, and another Huck, another score. 5-3.
This game has a lot of really exciting matchups. It's fun to watch Alex Thorne battle Julian Childs Walker. They have a very similar build. They're both similar players. They can do handling moves, cutting. They can go downfield. They're both fast. They're both incredible change of directions and quick. Here, Thorne, really great defensive effort coming in against him, but Julian comes up with it. Simon finds himself wide open deep in the end zone. Another Montague goal, this time catching.
Pittsburgh coming off here in this
Here we're watching the defense. Oh, lost him a little bit there, but he
Thorne coming in almost gets that D, but it just leaves Montague wide open to go deep. Off the start of that possession, Carleton possession, saw a lot of poaching against the side stack in the open side for those at home. Pittsburgh seeing what's happening, knowing they're trying to get one player in isolation. Forced Carleton to go to a secondary option. Carleton was able to work it.
Curious to see what Pitt's offensive formation looks like. They've been going with some side stacks this game. Here it looks more like a
Saul starting things off. got Thorne and Brenner back. Now looking for Brenner for the back dump. DiGirolamo along the sideline. Nothing available deep. Forced to work it around Saul. On the break side to Pitts, can't reel it in. That's an unfortunate turnover, and Carleton could go up by 3 early on. Norton looking deep for Stewart in the back of the end zone, and Carleton's up 6-3 early on in this one.
That was an interesting lineup as well. You put Nick Stewart directly in the shadow of the mark, and it forces his defender to either take away the under or the deep. He's able to just attack that open space. You know, sitting back there, it seems like he's in a tough spot, but his speed allows him to threaten pretty much both areas of the field.
And that throw from Norton, that's exactly how it has to be. Has to have edge on it to be able to drop that in the back corner. Just where Stewart has the space to get it.
Absolutely. Having Nick Stewart as a receiver in that setup is tough to stop. You almost need help defense.
And we're going to take a break here and see if Pittsburgh can mount a comeback. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2013 Stanford Invite. And we're back here at the Stanford Invite. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of Pittsburgh facing off against Carleton. I'm Brian Jones here with Tyler Kinley. Pittsburgh down 3, taking a timeout to try to recuperate after Carleton has just been blitzing them with hucks left and right. Montague throwing it. Norton just last time throwing it to Nick Stewart. Carleton is usually a team we often see trying to work it underneath. Right now, the deep lane has been open in Pittsburgh, trying to play defense to take away the underneath for Carleton. Carleton has no problem hitting those deep shots. Pittsburgh offensive line out in the field. We have Max Thorne, Isaac Saul, number 81 Tyler DiGirolamo, Pat Earls, Michael Brenner, Christian Pitts, and Aaron Watson. Coaches for both teams, Nick Kazmarek marching the sideline for Pittsburgh. Head coach Phil Bone for Carleton. Getting set to pull. Childs Walker has been the main puller all weekend for Carleton. Brenner receiving. Centers to Saul. Vertical stack for Pittsburgh. Saul looking deep for DiGirolamo. Bolton is there. DiGirolamo gets big. Makes the catch. Dishes it. No ruling from the observer, not in it. Watson flips it up high in the air for DiGirolamo, and that gets him on the board. Just an incredible catch by DiGirolamo. He's just so big, one of the best athletes in this game.
That'll be a fun one to watch all season.
So, take a look here at DiGirolamo once again. Saul in center position, right off the front of the vert stack. Even with Bolton there, it's a tough defense. The real challenge, though, here for Pittsburgh, Tyler, is that the defense has not played well. They've gotten a few turnovers that Carleton has been they haven't really forced any turnovers. Carleton's just been making some unforced errors. But right now it's 6-4, and they've got to get themselves back in this game.
They need to apply more pressure to Simon Montague. That starts with the mark.
Now, with Montague's length, do you consider putting one of your bigger players on him to get that wingspan and prevent the break throws by simultaneously challenging the flick huck?
Yeah, that is a strategy that a coach could employ. In the college game, oftentimes you have only so many smart defenders, and in this case, I would really put a smart defender on that thrower. In this case, I think Trent Dillon can make an adjustment. I think he needs to go a more flat mark, allowing some around breaks, but really stopping those deep shots.
Carleton has not yet had to work it. They've been going with what Pittsburgh's been giving them, and you have an out-of-bounds fall and giving Carleton a nice starting point. Carleton has traditionally gone with set handlers, but they've been mixing and matching different people. Nick Stewart, primarily a cutter here, is we're going to start off with a disc at the brick mark. Raineye drop chow on the mark. Harold. They're just out of reach of Ryan. Can't make the catch along the sideline, and that's a turnover Pittsburgh need. Raineye, drop chow. Call on the play. Stewart calling a travel on the play.
Make around, make around.
And for the round dump, gets in motion. Kaufman gets it back. Finding Watson for the backhand break. Continuing on to Beardsley. Looking back for Rainai, drop toe. Watson. Back to drop toe. Out to Watson. 2 players are there, and Watson can't make the grab. Montague picks it up immediately in the zone end zone. Throws the around to Lim. Harold. Underneath to Stewart. Stewart finds Ryan, unmarked. Ryan putting it deep for Harold. Harold goes up and makes the grab. 7-4, Carleton leads.
Somehow Ryan just broke free of his defender. There was perhaps a miscommunication on Pitt's D, but they left Ryan just wide open.
Now Carleton has the momentum, and this is an opportunity for them to break for half.
Here you see Ryan just walking free here. And after another Pitt defender slips, you see Harold just wide open deep. Just as you said, Pitt needs to step up their defensive game. You know, they had a good point, but you can't play 80% of a good point. There we saw that the Pitt defense crumble somehow, maybe on a miscommunication, maybe on a slip or something, but Carleton's in 7-4 because of it.
And Carleton has not been forced to work it up the field at all. Normally that is their mode, and here today it's just been huck after huck. And to players that are, we normally don't see, Harold is normally a stay-at-home handler.
Absolutely.
And there he takes the opportunity to go deep. A lot of versatility out of this Carleton offense. Been very impressive in this tournament.
Absolutely.
Carleton getting set to pull. Lots of offensive line out for Pittsburgh. And notably absent is Alex Thorne, not on the field. Brenner. Around to Earls. Earls back. Get it back to Saul at the sideline. Rainai drop show. We got a call on the play. Play will restart. And drop show keeps the disc. Forced backhand. And we have a violation. Still some confusion. We have our observers, a 4-man observer crew on this game. Keith Temple, Jason Trevor, Ariel Jackson, Daniel Brady giving us the calls. Play restarts. The around to Brenner. And a drop throw. Finding Earls. Earls looking around again. Not much movement here by the Pittsburgh Cutters. Just forced to use the handler movement. Finding DiGirolamo. Picks it up off the ground. Tries to flip it up in there. Bolton reads the play.
Oh my goodness.
And a huge catch by Rainai drop throw.
That was incredible.
Some discussion.
You rarely
taking
see
place
a
here.
play that athletic. Oh my goodness. Incredible hand block from Jesse Bolton right here. Gets high. And just an incredible play. Drop show just wouldn't give that disc up.
Ruled up by the observer.
You got to hand it to drop show. I don't know if anyone else is going to make a play like that at this tournament.
Just over the shoulder layout, scooping it just before it hits the ground.
That's what Pitt needs.
The energy for Pittsburgh has been a little bit low here. If they can score on this possession, it will be huge. Drop toe.
The rare spin move from the handler set.
There, the dumps clear out, and Brenner's able to come back and get it. Drop show just commanding this offense, and we have a collision on the field. Bolton down on the ground for Carleton. Resume
Drop Cho's been able to get open consistently in the handler set, but what they aren't connecting it with is the downfield, which you'll see is pretty deep here.
For DiGirolamo. Call on the play.
Carleton very physical D on the handlers. Justin Norton on Drop Cho.
DiGirolamo looks back for Drop Cho. He's just been commanding this possession here around Nassau. Nassau looking for Thorne. Thorne now looking for anybody. Not much movement available. Goes for the high release backhand to DiGirolamo. And that's it for the score. Pittsburgh now down by 2.
Drop Cho keeping that point alive with that incredible layout catch. Here we see, this is going to be a good angle.
Max Thorne, and you see this from Pittsburgh a lot. The high release backhand breaks. They go around, they go above the mark. And even somebody for the stature like Max Thorne, he's able to get above the shoulders of his person, and that's tough throw to stop.
Max is very capable as a thrower, even with that smaller stature, because he gets that high release. You have to stop it, and then his around forehand is released from a really far away point. You have to almost overcommit on that side to stop that. Each one, the release point becomes the crucial piece that allows him to get it off.
7-5, Carleton has the opportunity to take half here. Still have not seen Alex Thorne in the last several possessions for Pittsburgh.
Sidelines report he's been holding his hamstring. Perhaps he strained it, pulled it, something.
It's a big loss for Pittsburgh in this game. Kaufman with a pull for Pittsburgh. Justin Lynn back to receive. Centers to Harold. And a flood leaving Montague open underneath. Same play they ran in the opening possession, and Montague puts it deep for Stewart, but DiGirolamo is there and too far.
Going deep, you know, you have to be okay with some missed connections there. In this case, you're not going to hit every one. There's some risk associated with it there. We see a turnover from usually strong Montague.
Pittsburgh trying to go for the jugular off the possession, and Montague rips it out of the sky for the D.
Montague saving that possession, getting it back.
Montague back to Stewart. Lim. Stewart and DiGirolamo, two big bodies, line up each other. We saw a similar matchup with Aaron Hahn on Oregon, matched up with Stewart earlier. Ryan. Montague. Montague falls down on the turn. Running Adams. Violation mistakenly called. Adams.
This is strange. We'll see Simons catch D here. Just an incredible play coming from behind everybody.
See, that's great defense, though, by Galen Ryan coming in and making sure that Beardsley can't get a good jump. He's taking the inside position. Montague's able to get the D.
Absolutely correct.
Adams. And around to Stewart. Stewart likes to put it deep. Now looking around, high stuff situation. Hammer goes in the air. Adams is there, but too far for Adams.
That one's not going to connect. This is the pit D we've been looking for.
Forcing Carleton to take bad options, bad shots. They've been close. Every one so far in this possession. Kaufman. Big matchup in the middle of the field. DiGirolamo with Stewart. DiGirolamo losing body position. And the conversation goes, the play stops. Stewart. calling a foul. Coming in on 0. DiGirolamo. Putting it deep for Watson. This one is out of bounds. Will it stay in? Out of bounds. Fortunately for Watson. Some question of where the disc lies.
Hey, push up. Where are we?
Clarification there. The offense has to be able to be in the air to catch that disc. Montague on the sideline looking to take half. That puts a high release to Lim. Continuing on. Back to Lim. Inside release from Lim. Finds Stewart. And nearly a drop, hangs onto it, Adams. Looking for the round. Van Ness takes that away, goes inside to Montague. Montague puts the hammer up to Stewart. DiGirolamo, and Stewart can't hang on. We have a call on the play. Not sure about that one. Looked like it popped out of Stewart's hands. You see here Montague putting it up for Stewart.
That's certainly questionable.
And it's going to be ruled no foul. Pittsburgh will get it back. Another chance, a big possession here.
You see the trust that Montague has in Nick Stewart. We saw it over and over again yesterday in the Oregon game. If there's an inch of separation on that far side, Montague will launch a hammer, and it's going to be Blady.
Kaufman looking back, and Harold, strip called though. Going to get back to Kaufman. Harold just gives it right to him. There's no controversy there.
The cut sideline is just hungry for that to be a Callahan.
Would have been a great way to take half. Instead, Pittsburgh is surviving. Kaufman. Dillon. DiGirolamo underneath. Beardsley. Along the sideline, now to Watson. Not much flow downfield. Carleton playing tight defense. Kaufman. Gonna put it deep for DiGirolamo. And wide open. What a find by Kaufman. Not in. DiGirolamo on the goal line. Calls a timeout. Pittsburgh will have a chance to punch this one in. And we'll be right. And we'll have to see after this timeout whether or not Pittsburgh can punch it in. But right now, this has been a long point, Tyler. Carleton playing tight defense. We've really seen the intensity ramp up in this game.
You know, what I've been wondering so far this game is when are we going to see Tyler DiGirolamo go deep? Defended by Nick Stewart, probably one of the few in the nation who can just match him height-wise and leaping ability-wise. Stewart was playing him even there. He wasn't fronting, he wasn't backing. He was just saying, you know, you do what you're going to do, and I'm going to pressure either way. In this case, we'd seen Tyler get it underneath consistently. I mean, he's coming back. You know, he threw that huck that went out of bounds. Here, though, he gets a step, and that was just a perfect throw in front of him. That was a fantastic backhand put.
Zach Kaufman finding the release on the safety valve. Had nobody available. Sees Tyler DiGirolamo underneath. Nick Stewart, like you said, guarding him even. And as soon as you go even with Tyler DiGirolamo, he's got the advantage.
The key is they put it when he was even and standing. He hadn't even really began his cut, and they just threw it to that space knowing that he's going to see it before defender Nick Stewart saw it.
Here we go, coming out in the field. Looks like Pittsburgh lining up in a vertical formation with 3 handlers wide.
You're going to expect to see Trent Dillon really charge as a first handler, taking what it's given, probably going up line, maybe coming back and getting the disc. Simon Montague on D here.
Dillon charging, clearing out space. DiGirolamo gets the around, puts it out for Aaron Watson. Kaufman, what a throw. 2 consecutive big-time throws from Kaufman. Pittsburgh gets within 1.
In the situation there, if you're Pittsburgh on D, Carleton on D, someone's got to come out and help cover that space. You see all of the Carleton defenders just bunched in the back of the end zone. They're really guarding almost nothing. There's so much space to work with. And those Pitt cutters did nothing. They were on their heels, standing completely. They could have been off the field.
And Harold trying to take away the up line so much doesn't get around for the mark, and that's how Kaufman's able to get off that angled backhand. Normally would be a flick around. Makes it pretty easy for Pittsburgh. 7-6, Carleton still leading. The last few possessions for Carleton have been a little bit dicey, but the deep lane has still been open for them. We'll see if Pittsburgh can ramp up the defense once again.
It's promising for Pitt's long-term season to see them able to adjust and increase their defensive pressure, sort of slowly tightening the vise this game, just as you wanted to see. That portends well for them going towards nationals.
There are questions of a little bit of a hangover after last year's win coming into the season, a warm-up that didn't really show them competing at the highest level. They seem to be ready for this game, even with Alex Thorne out.
Sometimes when you have a star like Alex Thorne, on whom you lean so heavily, go out, it almost forces and allows players around him to step up. They realize, well, you know, we don't have that safety valve on our team. We need to step it up, and you can almost get a larger gain from that. And with that, you know, with Alex Thorne coming back, they're going to have both those things combined going down the road.
Norton finding Bolton, Montague. Harold again stretching the field. Usually a stay-at-home handler. Norton back for Montague. Montague continues the around a limb, finding Bolton. Puts it out to Childs Walker. Nobody is there.
I'm expecting a pick call here from Pitt.
There is a pick call on the play. This one's
Julian's cut came from, Childs Walker's cut came from just within the stack. You know that defender got blocked somehow.
Here we go, play restarting Bolton. The limb up the line, not available. Now back to Montague. Montague looking for another option, goes for the around, finding Harold. Back to Montague. Norton with a hammer at Childs Walker. And Carleton takes half, 8-6.
I've really liked Carleton end zone offense. They work well together. They know what to expect from one another. They know when to go and when to wait. And that ability to anticipate what each other are going to do makes it very difficult to defend.
After a little bit of a Pittsburgh comeback, Carleton's able to hold on this last offensive possession to take half. We'll be back soon for the second half action. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2013 Stanford Invite. And we're back here at the 2013 Stanford Invite Next Gen Network's coverage of the entire tournament here. I'm Brian Jones with Tyler Kinley. And Carleton is up 8-6 on Pittsburgh, but a big injury for Pittsburgh has sidelined Alex Thorne. Unfortunately, it looks like it was a hamstring injury. So let's take a look at the footage.
Here we see Alex Thorne going deep, defending Jesse Bolton Huck. That's Julian Childs Walker. We watch Alex right here. Grabs his hamstring, grimacing. There's clearly something there. It's probably just a pull. But since that point, we haven't seen him back on the field. It's clear that, you know, this is just Stanford Invite. This is not the time to blow it out. At Nationals, we're going to see him probably keep playing, tape it up, pop some ibuprofen. But right now, he's not playing.
It's showing actually the depth of Pittsburgh in this response here. Carleton is a very good team, is ready to go. Pittsburgh starting off on offense has a chance to bring it within one once again.
This is a big one for Pitt's offense. The Carleton D-line coming out of half, you know that they just came out of a huddle speech to get them pumped up, make adjustments. Pitt needs this goal.
Call on the play.
Frustration from number 19, Saul, on Pitt. I think that there's some bodying here going on from Carleton's defense.
Some discussion about the physical contact on the play. DiGirolamo keeping the disc. And the around to Watson. Back to Saul. Around to Earls. But this one's coming back. Saul to Earls. Earls back to Saul. And around to Brenner. Two people going deep for Pittsburgh. Now DiGirolamo underneath. Watson. Finding DiGirolamo. Bolton forcing upfield. DiGirolamo forced to go back to Saul. High pass. Brenner's going to reel it in. Brenner to DiGirolamo. Bolton takes a wide angle, falls down. Saul. Flick out to Thorne for the goal, and Pittsburgh works it, brings it within one.
Here we see Alex Thorne congratulating his brother. I wonder if he's going to come back on. Sometimes when you pull a muscle, all you need to do is give it some rest. We'll see. Earlier in the season, Thorne had been playing, marshaling the D-line for Pitt. And in talking to some other coaches, it seemed that his presence was definitely missed on their O-line. He adds pinpoint hucks. He opens up the field with his throws, both deep and to the break side. And they were missing it, seemed today and yesterday. He's been playing a lot more O as well as D, but focusing primarily on O, and that's made a big difference for Pitt's offense. But we see Alex Thorne walking off.
8-7 Carleton leads. Looking at the other semifinal game, Oregon having to mount a comeback on Tufts to take half 8-7. Tufts is a team we did not expect to come back at the same strength from last year, after they nearly made semifinals, losing to Wisconsin in the quarters.
Talking to teams, it seems they have a very strict, diligent system that they run, and it's proving successful. They've reinserted players into each position, and they're doing their role well.
Ball comes down from Pittsburgh.
Point, cut, let's go. Get down there, pitch.
Harold centering the disc. Stewart. Montague underneath. Back to Stewart. Spreading it wide. Pittsburgh playing soft on the handlers, letting Small underneath cuts. Montague along the sideline. He's been so dangerous from this position. Finds the inside break to Stewart. Stewart finding Ryan. Ryan to Montague. Gaining yards. Montague breaks the inside position. Pittsburgh defense trying to tighten up here. Fits it into space. Puts it out for Stewart. Defender trips on the play. Stewart grabs for the score, but we're going to have a call.
Not sure what the call is here. I'll probably get that. It was probably a pick call. It looked like the Pitt defender who was trying to make up ground ran into a cut offender.
This is going to go back.
It's a situation where that Pitt defender was not guarding Nick Stewart, but had dropped off of him. It's hard to tell whether he was within the requisite yardage proximity to make that call, but that's a tough one to get right every time. This goes back.
Either way, Carleton now has it on the goal line. Montague with the disc. Trent Dillon has had his hands full all game.
Absolutely. Montague has been going downfield, getting open for yardage gains, as well as handling specifically. He's really the story of this game.
Lim back to Montague. Carleton trying to punch it in and does so. Montague inside break to Stewart. 9-8 Carleton leads. 9-7.
At this point, in order to stop Carleton, you need to stop Simon Montague. That's got to be your focal point.
Your 9-7 Carleton leads. At this point, do you think about changing things up, or are you still trusting Dylan to make the play at Montague if you're Pittsburgh?
Well, at 9-7, there's not a ton of game left. I mean, you do have a half, but that only really allows for you need to have time to adjust and then be able to go back to something else. And this would be a very good time to adjust. I think trying someone new, even putting. I mean, you got to consider putting a Tyler DiGirolamo to shut down Montague. Perhaps that's something you save in your pocket, though. You don't want to show that play this early in the season. Coaches are thinking all the way down the road, not showing too much.
It is a game of adjustments, especially this day and age with film and how many games are available online. It really makes a difference. It's made a difference for the Arizona zone where teams were able to solve it yesterday. Saul, Thorne. Thorne, high release to Dropcho. Dropcho underneath to DiGirolamo. And they around to Brenner. A solid big bid by Carleton. Harold can't get there. Saul putting it deep. This one's low. Childs Walker bids for it, and it's too far for Brenner.
Overall, good D here from Cut. We'll see how they can do on it after the turn. This is a crucial possession. Jesse Bolton out, getting isolated.
Carleton putting it deep, but Dropcho is there. Gets the D. Now to Earls on the around centered. Looking for the continuation of Brenner, not there. Not much movement. Earls going deep. DiGirolamo has space. DiGirolamo reels it in for the easy catch.
Fantastic put from Earls there. We haven't seen him bomb it deep that much, but if he's got that in the bank, you got to use it.
Sophomore Pat Earls. He was a freshman last year, one of the promising young players. Nice lefty foot hawk.
You can see that there are no Carleton defenders expecting that throw to get put that deep.
In this case, DiGirolamo. In 9-8 Carleton leads. Pittsburgh coming back here on defense. At least keeping pace. Carleton getting set to come here on offense. Harold out in the field, Montague, Lim. And Lim, one of the exciting freshmen from Seattle. Thank you for Stewart. Out in pursuit was Pittsburgh. DiGirolamo now guarding Stewart. Stewart putting it deep. Montague there. Dropcho. Oh, wow. Montague gets up for the grab. Back to Stewart, and Stewart continues on for the easy goal, but this one's coming back. No call on the play. Carleton leads 10-8.
That's a fantastic play. When you can have Nick Stewart being centered to and hucking deep to Simon Montague, you've got a lot of options.
There have been a lot of defensive mistakes in this game so far, and here we see Montague get it, and the Pittsburgh defense just doesn't drop off. Very passive, leaves Stewart all alone. Easy pass for the goal.
Great sky by Montague. It's interesting when you have the disc centered to Nick Stewart, who is probably by and large considered more of a deep threat. What that does is downfield, it brings out Tyler DiGirolamo from that downfield. He can no longer help deep. He's on a handler. It puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the defenders of Pitt to watch that deep space.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I actually want Stewart underneath with the disc in his hands as much as possible based on what I've seen so far. And I would take DiGirolamo off of him.
Exactly.
Play even against Montague and see how that matchup goes. So right now Montague's the one that's been killing you. Stewart's been available deep, but Montague's been the one setting it. Deny Montague the disc as much as possible. Let Stewart continue to throw. So far, Stewart's consistency has been an issue. Saul. High to Thorne. Thorne can't get up, and 3D for Childs Walker.
That may be the third or fourth time we've seen that exact play run where
Childs Walker, defense for Pittsburgh, still trying to catch up. Back to Norton. Swings it around to Montague. Montague back to Norton. Cohen. Norton. Continuing around this end zone offense again for Carleton. So machine-like. Over and over again, just a pure system. Back to Montague. Norton. Finding Childs Walker on the wide open in the end zone. Carleton breaks 11-8.
It's interesting to watch Carleton's end zone offense. It's as if the handlers look to each other for 5 or 6 consecutive throws. The downfield, the cutters are stagnant. The downfield cutter defenders get a bit lackadaisical or just lulled into sleep, and then boom, Carleton handlers look to him. They make that first cut. Childs Walker reads the play successfully, goes open side, easy goal.
Score check on the other games we have. Tufts losing 9-11 to Oregon right now. In the other semifinal, winners of both games will play each other. We will have that coverage later today. In the next game, we'll have a women's semifinals on this field. Pittsburgh has done a good job of swinging it across the field for the most part, but definitely missing the threat of Alex Thorne in this lineup. Carleton with a 3-point lead. Childs Walker getting set to pull. Setting for Pittsburgh, finding Kaufman now. DiGirolamo. DiGirolamo cutting deep from near the handler position. Not available underneath the pits. Earls finding DiGirolamo. DiGirolamo going for the lofty flick to the corner of the end zone, and that's good to Max Thorne.
Pitt's offense looks very, very good there.
Very smooth. Good continuations, good flow from Pittsburgh, something we haven't seen so far this game. Earls, very confident with his flick throws.
You saw Earls go streaking up line there. That's what pulled Julian Childs Walker off of Max Thorne. Julian saw Earls coming up the line, free, having beaten his defender with a throw and go to DiGirolamo. It pulls Julian up, thinking that might be an easy goal. Opens Max Thorne wide for that around flick.
There's enough room to make that pass. Pittsburgh, though, still down 2, needs to mount a defensive comeback. Something they were able to do last year. You see a little bit of switching up here. We see Max Thorne on the field, Dillon, Rainai drop throw, DiGirolamo, Kunsa, and Beardsley. Kaufman with the pull. This pull going out of bounds. Montague starting with the disc again. DiGirolamo on Nick Stewart. And we see Rainai Dropcho now getting the opportunity. Montague going up the line, gets it in a tight space. Pittsburgh defense trying to pick up. Around the limb, continuing to Harold. Harold looking for the inside, puts it up. Finding Adams. Now around to Harold. Centers the disc. Puts it in, not for quite for the goal. Ryan looking for the flip to Montague, and Carleton continuing to roll 12-9.
This is going to be a game of who steps up on D.
So far Carleton has, and that's gained them the 3-point lead late in this game. This point too, and the movement from Carleton's offense, so smooth.
It's interesting to me that neither team really ever throws any sort of junk or zone. It's just, this has been a strict man defense game.
Both teams tend to like their athleticism.
Yeah.
And in this case, they know how good Carleton is with their throws. People know how good Pittsburgh is with their throws, and they're over the tops. Zone does seem like an afterthought for both squads. Well, Carleton did throw a little bit of zone yesterday.
They did. However, there was some wind. Here, it seems in a no-win situation, this is a beautiful day for Ultimate. Neither team is willing to risk getting out of their comfort zone on O or D.
Carleton at the same time, it's been working for them. They've got this 3-point lead, 12-9. And I'm Brian Jones here with Tyler Kinley. Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2013 Stanford Invite. Pittsburgh gets started. Finding DiGirolamo on the sideline. Pass to Earls, but gets it, and Nick Stewart gets a D on a dish intended for Rainai Dropcho.
It's a very aware D there. Nick Stewart keeping his head up, getting a block away from him.
Childs Walker moving it to the sideline. Carleton here can really extend their lead and make it hard on Pittsburgh. And Norton with the huge overthrow just behind his receiver. Cohen was not ready. Dropcho. Earls. And DiGirolamo. Not much movement here from Pittsburgh, having to go back and use their handlers. Kaufman. Back to Earls. Earls going for a deep to Pitts. Just too far. Earls was taking some shots this game, but he's getting an earful now from DiGirolamo. Norton picking up the disc, another opportunity for Carleton. Norton, high release to Cohen. Max Thorne almost comes in for the D attempt. Bolton, dish to Norton. Finding Bolton in the middle of the field. Back to Cohen. DiGirolamo trying to jump the lanes, get something going. Too far for Stewart. Injury called on the play. Nick Stewart trying to go horizontal for that one, couldn't get there. Play restarts. Kunsa's come in on offense for Pittsburgh. Kaufman picking up the disc. DiGirolamo on the back of the stack. Thorne at the front. Kaufman finding Thorne right from the front of the stack. Bolton poaching off DiGirolamo. Kaufman going hard up line. Kunze goes high, and Montague gets the D. Overthrown from Thorne. Montague finding Cohen. Quick give and go. Montague putting it up for Childs Walker, and it's there for the goal. Beautiful throw by Montague.
That's Simon Montague again taking over, finding the open man as a dish, getting himself back. He's a force.
13-9, and it's Pittsburgh's in a tough spot. They take a timeout here. Here, Montague finds it for the give and go, and then just beautiful throw to space. And not only got there, it looked good.
That's absolutely true. What I saw there as well is Max Thorne got open to get the disc, and the mark really made it difficult. So let's go take a look at let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back with you at the Stanford Invite.
And we're back here at the Stanford Invite. I'm Brian Jones here with Tyler Kinley, part of Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2013 Stanford Invite. Pittsburgh down 9-13 to Carleton. Carleton just building a lead on the play of Simon Montague and tough defense.
This game at 13-9, Carleton ahead. On the other semifinal is Oregon Ultimate up on Tufts 13-10. Sounds as if Tufts has been throwing a lot of zone with Oregon's ego working through it successfully. That would set up if no upsets occur at this point, it would set up an Oregon-Carleton final.
A rematch of the game we saw yesterday, 15-14.
Barn burner.
Pulling it out. That was an incredible game with athleticism. Right now for Pittsburgh, the loss for Alex Thorne has been a little bit daunting. They've lacked a little spark on offense that they've needed to punch it in and have not been able to get it back on defense. Saul to Brenner. Brenner running DiGirolamo. Looking back for Brenner. Saul putting it deep for DiGirolamo. Will this one stay in bounds? DiGirolamo rips it down.
I liked seeing Cut's defense there. Consistently, Max Thorne has been getting open, just going to that open side. Just a straight line cut, horizontal across the field. In this situation, in the past, Julian Childs-Walker has been playing behind him, forcing him underneath. Here, he stayed even with him and prevented that throw, forcing Tyler DiGirolamo to come to the open side. Jesse Bolton they had a great bid on it, almost got a block on that first throw. I like playing tighter on that first throw from Pitt. Good cut D. We're going to see it again here. This is that first. Max Thorne's going to come across the field here. Some physical D. Jesse Bolton making a great play on it. They're a lot closer here, pressuring that first throw. Pitt rarely goes deep on that first throw. I think you can start to hone in on that underneath, really blocking that.
It's been all about the deep game, though, today for Carleton. They've worked it when they've had to, when they've gotten close to the end zone, but otherwise than that, they've been able to huck it over this Pittsburgh defense. Kaufman. Offside call. Offside on the play. Pittsburgh will have to repull it. Pull from Pittsburgh. They go out of bounds, get Carleton the disc, got the brick mark. Pittsburgh absolutely needs to take this D here. Harold. Underneath for Ryan. Montague now looking deep, going for Stewart. Drop throw is there. And Stewart rips it down. There's no stopping Nick Stewart this game. He has been a force to work with.
Absolutely great athletic catch by Nick Stewart here. Simon Montague showing just how much he trusts him. That defender was right there with him. He just still put it up.
Trusting Nick Stewart's body position and speed. 14-10. It's not looking good for Pittsburgh. Have to score this point to stay alive.
Each team making slight adjustments to the other. I'd like to see, as I mentioned before, Carleton's D a little more fronting on that very first throw. They've been allowing Pitt to get it around the mark, advancing the disc another 15 on that first throw. I'd like to see them pressuring that and forcing them to either take a much tougher huck full field or thereabouts, or have to work it through the handler set. For Pitt, Max Thorne has been the primary target for that first throw. Here it's Earls.
Underneath for Earls. Two players following DiGirolamo deep. Max Thorne wide open underneath, but can't be found. Brenner finding Earls. Saul. DiGirolamo underneath. DiGirolamo putting it out for the goal.
Pitt successfully showing their depth on that offensive possession, having Earls be the primary cutter, working it through their entire set, taking what's given, never forcing anything.
Looks like this call on the play. Ruled in by the observer, still discussion ongoing.
Not sure what the debate is here. Seems like other players might not be sure either.
DiGirolamo clearly giving his opinion.
Dancing.
The no contest.
I think they're wondering potentially if he came from out of bounds back in. It's a weird rule. If you are out of bounds, jump, catch the disc, and land inbounds is actually from where you jumped. And I'm not sure if that's what they're ruling here, but
it looks like it's going back to Kaufman.
If that left foot, the first point of contact when he took off, was out of bounds, that would be coming from out of bounds back in and would rule him out, even though he landed in bounds.
Observer though signaling inbounds, so
Yeah, definitely.
this one's coming back.
That's pretty much just a guess as to what we're ruling here.
Kaufman. Really round flick, a Pittsburgh throw they love to DiGirolamo. 14-11, and DiGirolamo punts this one.
I think we're going a 1-to-1 ratio for goals he's scored to kick spikes. And kick spike.
Carleton leads. Punch this one in, they'll book a ticket to the finals, possibly to face Oregon, another rematch of that barn burner we saw yesterday. The story of this game has just been Carleton's consistency with their deep shots.
And Montague. It's been Montague.
Montague to Stewart.
To Stewart, absolutely. And Charles Walker. It's those three taking up the brunt of the work.
Big names in Carleton really showing up, and when you don't have one of your big names on Pittsburgh, Alex Thorne, out with a hamstring injury, it's tough when you're down in this spot. you don't quite have the confidence with your big man out. Play begins. And this one is in, giving Pittsburgh an opportunity. No. Sliding
it seems
out.
to have been slide out. That puts the disc starting from that same positioning widthwise in the field at the front of the end zone.
Here we go, Pittsburgh! Here we go, Pittsburgh!
Pittsburgh trying to force out. Ryan runs through his man on the cut. Harold up the line. Norton. And Stewart DiGirolamo coming in fast. Stewart throwing to Montague. Montague wanting to hit Stewart deep, not available. Back to Montague. Center of the field. Looking for cuts, throws a hammer. Childs Walker. Interesting choice. It works out. Childs Walker putting it up deep. There's Pittsburgh defenders in the area. Montague can't reel it in. Almost had it in his hand. Drop choke.
That's not the kind of offense we're used to seeing from Carleton. They looked a little stagnant. We didn't have that crisp flow we're used to seeing.
Pittsburgh defense really trying to pick it up in desperation. They have to be. They have to score this point, and a poach tee by Montague. Quick flip to in the middle of the field to Norton. Norton inside break to Harold for the win. Carleton wins 15-11, and they're moving on to the finals.
After that turnover, Pitt just looked done.
Right near the end zone.
No one getting back behind the disc. Everyone just thinking, well, that's it.
Pittsburgh has some work to do. The defending national champs have had 2 consecutive tournaments where they have not shown to be the top team there. Here they'll lose in the semifinals to Carleton. Montague, such an intelligent play and quick movement by Carleton. You can tell Pittsburgh just done for the day.
The storyline of that game, Montague and Nick Stewart and Childs Walker uncut. Injury to Alex Thorne's hamstring, sidelining him. Carleton really stepping up their game. They look really, really good. Going into this final, they're going to be hungry to get at Oregon.
And I really like what I see so far from Carleton this year, a versatile offense, where sometimes you're seeing Montague going deep, sometimes he's the one handling, sometimes you're seeing Nick Stewart, a player I wouldn't have imagined this year in the handler position.
Being centered to on offense.
Starting out. And for Pittsburgh, we talked about before this game, they seem to lack a sense of urgency.
Absolutely.
They played close against a Stanford team who played very well. Stanford was ready. And Pittsburgh, I just don't know if they're ready to have the target on their back all season. They've got to come away from this tournament and decide, we've got to pick it up right now. If you're a player on that team that was on it last year, senior leader, it's time to bring things together and time to start doing the work.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm Brian Jones. Thanks to Tyler Kinley. Thanks to Elemental Technologies, powering all that we do here on Next Gen Network. We'll see you in a few minutes for the women's semi, and we'll be back later on for the finals of the 2013 Stanford Invite.